Hey folks, Randy here with Dolan Cut and Trim. So I want to talk about how um, during a insurance claim interaction I had with a customer, I busted their storm door. I want to talk about how what the contractor did that lost me as a customer, and what they could have done to retain me. So and I'm not going to say anybody's name, so no one knows who this is, because I don't think anybody knows who I use for this stuff. There's one person that knows, and they probably don't remember that they know. So, so the storm door breaks, and so I called the contractor that I work with, and said, "Hey, I got this storm door. It's an issue. Can you replace this for me?" And they were like, "Can you bring it in?" I was like, "I don't want to. I just want you guys to deal with it. Just charge me whatever you got to charge me. Let's get this handled." So they say, "No problem. We should have this dealt with in 2 weeks." I was like, "Great." So about a week goes by, and my customer says, "Hey, do you know what's going on with this window?" I don't think anybody's been out here yet. I was like, I don't know. So I contact my contractor, and they're like, "Oh, we should have somebody out there by next week." So it's like, okay. So I was under the impression this was going to be resolved in 2 weeks. Turns out they're not even going to be there for 2 weeks. Okay. She tells me like they're short staffed. So I'm like, all right. So they go out there, they get the window, they bring it back to their shop, and I guess a week goes by. I haven't heard anything, so I call them, and they let me know that unfortunately this window is going to require a special type of glass that has to be special ordered, and it's going to take a couple weeks to get it, like 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm like, okay, that's disappointing. So I put it in my calendar to reach back out. So at the 4-week mark, I reach out to my contractor, and they say, "We've got it in. You should be getting it. You should be getting it installed next week." Great. I contact my customer, let them know. A week goes by, it's not installed. So I contact the contractor, and they say it's getting installed tomorrow. Perfect. They then call me that next day, leave a voicemail because I was working, to let me know that they were not able to install the glass, that the company they ordered the glass from had sent them the wrong size. But hopefully they'll go better. It'll go faster this time around, since the supplier made the mistake, not the contractor. Excuse me, dealing with a cold. And so, fine. So I say, "Well, how long do you think this is going to take?" And they say 2 weeks. Perfect. Okay. So I put in my thing to contact them in 2 weeks. So 2 weeks go by, and I email, I wish. I call them, and they say it's not in yet. Don't know when it's going to be in. So at this point, we're 6 weeks. It's been 6 weeks since I've busted this window. They told me they would be fixed in 2 weeks. We're now at the 6-week mark. So they say, "Well, call us next week." So I'm like, all right. So I call them the next week. It's still not in. So we're at 7 weeks now. And they say, "Randy, I assure you, like, you're a priority. We're going to get you taken care of." It's like, okay. So we're at the 7-week mark. At the 8-week mark, I call them, and they say, yeah, I call them on a Monday, and they're like, "Yeah, it's here. But we're not going to be able to install it for another week." And they say, and I say, you told me at the beginning this was going to be a 2-week process, and we're over 8 weeks now. And they said, yeah, sorry, don't know what to tell you. I mean, we're shorthanded here. And I was like, and I said, well, I don't feel like you're treating, you told me I'm a priority. I don't see how I'm a priority if we're 8 weeks out and you're telling me it's going to be another week, even though you have the glass. And he was like, look, doing the best we can, yada, yada. And, we ended up having an argument. And I expressed my frustration during that argument. I said, I understand that there's supply chain issues and that you're short-staffed. Everyone's short-staffed. No one's able to get good work. I understand that. But just because that's happening, it doesn't mean you can provide subpar service. And if you know that, why isn't that getting reflected in the conversation that we're having? If things are short-staffed and supply chains backed up, why are you telling me 2 weeks? Going all the way back to the beginning, when you told me this would be done in 2 weeks, you didn't even show up for 2 weeks. You're not providing me with accurate information. And then I said, I'm taking this info back to my customer, and I'm having to go back to my customer over and over again and be like, sorry, they're telling me new stuff. Sorry, they're telling me new stuff. You're making me look like a fool because I'm choosing to trust that you're giving me good information and you're not. And, they didn't like that, and we got in an argument about that, and it wasn't great. And so I told him, I was like, I said, I have a hard time imagining a scenario where I would work with you again, because I don't have any confidence that what you're telling me is true. Because another thing, because I've purposely given myself a lot of time between when this happened and recording this video, because I was pretty angry. But they would say, we're going to call you back with this information. The owner is going to call you. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And it would never happen. There was one day that they said, we'll have the owner call you back today. And I said, okay, you've told me that before and they never have. So how long should I wait before I call you back? And they got annoyed by that. But I said, but seriously, okay, you're telling me they're going to call me back. I don't have any faith that they are. So what time should I call you back? And so, they were like, if you want to call us back at 3:30, it's like, okay. So, 3:30 rolls around, like, hey, you're not going to believe this. Didn't call me. It was that kind of stuff all the time. And then when they would set deadlines and then couldn't meet them, they wouldn't update me, which I got to tell you, would have gone a long way to just, if you're proactive, which you guys are going to learn this in the next video in this series. If you're proactive when things are going wrong, your customer's not going to like it, but they will understand. But you need to be proactive in communicating. You need to over communicate. And in the case of this contractor, they didn't. And, honestly, I almost feel petty now that I'm talking about it out loud, but I want to work with people who can provide me with accurate information. And this contractor couldn't. They kept telling me information that they had to have known was incorrect. If you're handling scheduling, you're telling me a job's going to be done in 2 weeks, but you don't even look at the glass for the first time for 2 weeks, then there's no way you're going to get the job done in 2 weeks. You're not providing me information that I can then relay to a customer. And it just, it was a problem. Basically, long story short, it took 9 weeks. And I get that part of the reason for that was because their supplier sent them the wrong glass, assuming that's true. I don't have any reason to assume it wasn't. So, it just was a mess, and I was made to look pretty foolish in front of my customers several times as a result. But we'll get more into that in the video that follows this one. But the thing that really kind of drove me nuts is when I told them that I couldn't really imagine that I would be working with them again. The thing they said, well, if that's what's in your heart, then do that. I said, I was like, can you at least appreciate how frustrating this is from my end? Yeah. Yeah. It's like, Okay, well, cool, perfect, but yeah, so they lost me as a customer, and I don't know. You guys tell me. Do you guys think I'm being ridiculous here? Because I don't feel like I am. I feel like when I say something, you should expect that it's true, and I feel like when you say something to me, I'm going to choose to believe you. So don't provide me bad information, or I won't trust you anymore. It's just kind of how that works. There's one more thing I wanted to say in regards to this, and I can't think of what it is. But so I guess we'll have to call it there. But eventually, it did get installed. And I guess I do want to give them credit for one thing, is that when the new glass came in, it was wrong. They did install like a temporary storm door for my customer during that time period. So they did kind of make it right. So that was appreciated. So the next video in this series will be about how I retained my customer during this time period. There was a lot of frustration. Like I said, I had told my customer this was going to take 2 weeks. It ended up taking 9 weeks. So the next video will be how I was able to retain that customer and actually create a more loyal customer than I even had before. But we'll get into that next time. So this is Randy with Dolan Cut and Trim. I hope this video... Oh, I remember what it was. The thing that frustrated me the most is they kept expressing that, they were short-staffed and that was part of the problem. And, I understand that that's an issue. I understand, believe me, during this pandemic, trying to find somebody that wants to work is ridiculous. Dolan Cut and Trim was set to explode in 2021. Absolutely explode. You do not want to know how much work I've turned down. It would make you sick. But I couldn't get reliable people to work for me. And so instead of taking on more work than I can handle, I took on the exact amount of work that I could handle. So I don't really have a lot of patience for folks saying we're short-staffed, and so that's why we're doing a bad job. Because I'm in the same boat. I had more access to customers than I could possibly deal with, and so I didn't take them on because I didn't have the ability to take care of them, and so I don't really have a lot of patience for companies using that as an excuse for why they're providing poor service. So I just want to throw that there at the end. That's actually like the biggest point I wanted to make in this video. So, this is Randy with Dolan Cut and Trim. Yeah, have a good one.